Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for checking the video out. Today we have more PlayStation news, rumors, and leaks to go over and cover. We're starting here with the announcement of the December 2022 PS Plus Extra and PS Plus Premium games lineup. You're looking at 18 new games being added to PlayStation Plus Extra and 4 new games being added to PlayStation Plus Premium, specifically Classics. Now, when it comes to PlayStation Plus Extra, some of these standout titles that we're looking at: Far Cry 5, Far Cry New Dawn, Far Cry Primal, Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor, Middle-earth Shadow of War, Mortal Shell, Pillars of Eternity 2, Deadfire Ultimate Edition, WWE 2K22, Yakuza 6 The Song of Life, and Yakuza Like a Dragon. And there are more titles here, but those to me are some of the standouts. And when it comes to the premium editions, you're looking at Heavenly Sword for PS3, Oddworld Abe's Exodus for PS1, Pinball Heroes PSP, and Ridge Racer 2 PSP. So yeah, it's still looking pretty sparse when it comes to premium. So if you are a premium subscriber, feel free to let me know down in the comments below what you think of this lineup. The next topic talks a little bit about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. We have a bit of new information to go over on this game, and I'm going to give you fair warning. There are spoilers regarding Final Fantasy VII Remake in what we're going to discuss, so keep that in mind. But this is reading from Gaming Bolt, where it says Final Fantasy VII fans have a special place in their hearts for Zack Fair, a crucial character in the universe's story and the protagonist of Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII. He is, of course, back in the limelight once again, thanks to the latter's remaster. But as those who played Final Fantasy VII Remake will likely have predicted, we're probably going to be seeing a lot more of him in the not-too-distant future. Final Fantasy VII Remake ended with a surprising scene that seemed to indicate that Zack's fate in this version of the story may be very different from the original, and that he may have ended up surviving. His Japanese voice actor has also now said that the character will play, quote, an active role, end quote, in its upcoming sequel, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Speaking in an interview with Famitsu, the actor said, quote, "There's not much I can say about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, but Zack seems to play an active role as well," end quote. So obviously that's a bit of a rough translation, but what people are picking up with this is that the actor seems to essentially be hinting that this time around he is going to play a much bigger role in the story. I think by this point it's clear to everybody that there are going to be even more changes to the story with Rebirth. And while I don't think this is necessarily a spoiler, I don't think that the voice actor here revealed too much by any means, but it does in a way kind of confirm that, you know, this character is going to have a much bigger role in this. And I think a lot of people were likely thinking that already, but either way, it's nice to kind of have that confirmation. So a small update, as I said, on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Let me know your thoughts about that. Next up, we have another update, a small one though, on the Xbox Activision deal. I came across this article from PlayStation Lifestyle, where the title reads, Xbox Activision deal should go ahead because PlayStation has more exclusives, says Microsoft. Microsoft has bemoaned the FTC's decision to block its acquisition of Activision Blizzard, arguing that the deal is fair because PlayStation exclusives far outnumber Xbox exclusives. According to Bloomberg, President Brad Smith made these remarks on Tuesday during Microsoft's annual shareholder meeting. Expressing his confidence in a legal win, Smith claimed that there are 286 PlayStation exclusives, whereas Microsoft only has 59 Xbox exclusives. Quote, "The administrative law judge is going to have to decide whether going from 59 to 60 is such a danger to competition that he should stop this from moving forward," end quote. Seemingly unaware that Microsoft is financially capable of building up studios and striking third-party deals akin to Sony's. So I wanted to talk about this again because at this point, it's becoming clear a common theme is emerging from Microsoft executives that talk about this deal. That theme is, well, we're just going to point to Sony and point out the fact that they have way more exclusives than us, make it seem like we're completely weak, and just keep pointing to the fact that Sony is the market leader. We're going to ignore how Sony got to that position. We're going to completely ignore the fact that, you know, Microsoft has been completely financially capable of doing all of the exact same things that Sony has done throughout the decades, but for one reason or another, Microsoft either A, chose not to, or B, just completely messed it up when they attempted to do so. And so I just really don't like how disingenuous this is becoming, because Microsoft is attempting to make it seem almost as if Sony did something wrong by simply doing a better job at cultivating and nurturing their studios and growing them. And Sony clearly did a better job at negotiating third-party deals. And these things have worked hand in hand for PlayStation over the years. And when you look at Microsoft, it's not like they didn't also try to do those same things, but for one reason or another, I mean, sure, there are multiple reasons, they just weren't able to do it the same way. And it's very likely simply because they just didn't have the talent, or they just didn't have the ability for one reason or another. But it certainly was not because they didn't have the resources. Again, this is Microsoft. Microsoft is clearly able to afford to do pretty much anything. And I just think that this is some really weak reasoning and weak arguments that they're presenting here. And I also want to say, before moving on, it's really bizarre to me that Microsoft's president is saying that an administrative law judge is going to have to decide whether Microsoft going from 59 to 60 when talking about their exclusives is going to be problematic. And it's like, what are you talking about? You're not going from 59 to 60. That is not at all what's happening here. It's just insane. It's insane that these are the things that are being said. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts on that. Moving on, though, we are talking about Resident Evil Village, specifically for PlayStation VR 2. This is coming from PlayStation Lifestyle, where they say Capcom has confirmed that Resident Evil Village VR mode for PSVR 2 will be available when the headset launches on February 22nd, 2023, and it'll be available as free DLC for existing game owners. The VR mode will be a separate download and will only be available on the new system. PS4/PSVR 1 owners, unfortunately, will not get the DLC. Capcom has promised the greatest level of immersion, as Resident Evil Village's VR mode is designed to fully harness the power of PSVR 2. From the description given on the PlayStation blog, it sounds like a tech showcase for the headset. So I wanted to be sure to let you guys know about this, because I do think that this is some really good news. It's nice to have that confirmation that RE Village is going to be available day one with the launch of PSVR 2, but it's even better that if you are an RE Village owner and you happen to buy PSVR 2, at least if you're on PS5, you're going to get this as free DLC. It is unfortunate that it's only for PS5, but considering how deep we are into the new generation, I think it kind of makes sense at this point. And I'm definitely going to be paying attention to this title when it drops for PSVR 2, because it is true. It sounds like a lot's going into this, and they really are trying to leverage it to, be the standout showpiece for what PSVR 2 is capable of. So let me know your thoughts on that and whether or not you plan to play it. Moving on, we are talking about God of War, specifically how a TV series with Amazon has officially been greenlit. Reading from PlayStation Universe, they say a God of War TV series has been given the green light with Amazon. This is being reported from The Hollywood Reporter. We already knew that Amazon was working on developing a TV series based on Sony Santa Monica's famed IP, though this is now confirmation of who is going to be behind it, along with the fact that the series will follow the plot of 2018's God of War, beginning with Kratos and Atreus burying Faye. Speaking of who's behind it, creators of The Expanse, Mark Fergus and Hawk Otsby, will lead the adaptation effort along with showrunner Rafe Judkins. In a press release, Amazon's head of global television said, quote, God of War is a compelling, character-driven franchise that we believe will captivate our global customers as much with its expansive and immersive worlds as its rich storytelling. We are honored to share in the adventure of exploring the God of War mythology in such a momentous way with Sony Pictures Television, PlayStation Productions, and Santa Monica Studio, end quote. And it's worth noting that many God of War fans are calling for Christopher Judge, who is the voice and mocap actor of Kratos, to be cast as Kratos in this series. And I'm sure he would love that. It's really difficult to say if that'll actually happen or not. I think he would make a great Kratos, obviously. But it's also worth mentioning that the actor and actress who play Atreus and Freya have also made it clear on, I believe, Twitter, that they would absolutely love to play, the characters that they play in the game on the series as well. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but yeah, this is kind of big news for God of War. And I'm a little bit nervous about it, I have to admit. I have trepidation when it comes to any of these TV series or movies that Sony's doing, because I just feel like there's a lot that could go wrong. But, I'm going to approach it with hopefully some optimism in that I hope they can do it justice. I hope they can do it right. And I hope by the end of it, it just is a really good show. I mean, the Last of Us show, in my opinion, actually looks really good, and I'm looking forward to it, and it looks promising, and I hope I can say the same for the upcoming God of War TV series. So let me know your thoughts on that. But the final topic we're moving on to is not something major, but to me, it is significant. We are getting our first tease for this studio's next game, that being Bluepoint Games. And this is a studio that I absolutely cannot wait to find out what they're working on. So this is reading from PlayStation Universe, where they say Bluepoint Games has been relatively quiet of late, and since it helped launch the PS5 with Demon's Souls and joined PlayStation Studios officially, the only thing we've seen from the studio is that it supported Sony Santa Monica on God of War Ragnarok. However, it looks like Bluepoint is teasing that their next title will be announced, or even is potentially coming in 2023, with the holiday card it shared for the PlayStation blog. On the card are 4 presents under a tree, 3 of which have been opened, representing Demon's Souls, God of War Ragnarok, and Shadow of the Colossus, the other most recent title from Bluepoint. What could the unwrapped present be? The last we heard, Bluepoint has 2 projects in development, one of which is a new IP, and the other one is a remake, with both projects still being kept under wraps. Now, here's what's important to understand. That last part we just read about 2 projects being in the works at Bluepoint is a rumor. This was never officially confirmed. The last thing we heard officially about Bluepoint Games is that their next project is not a remake. And the way that they worded it, they said it's going to be original content. They didn't specifically say a new IP. They almost made it sound like they're going to be continuing a series or a franchise, which is interesting. And it is doubly interesting the fact that they're not doing a remake, considering that's really what they're known for. So they could very well be working on 2 projects. But looking at this Christmas card, yeah, a lot of people are looking at this box and going crazy with the speculation. I've seen people talking about Metal Gear Solid. I've seen people talking about Bloodborne and everything in between. Now, my personal speculation with this is looking at the unopened present. I can't help but see a cardboard box, which immediately reminds me of Metal Gear Solid. And then I'm also looking at the wrapping, and I can't help but see a red upside down exclamation point. I know that's a reach, and I know to some people they're probably thinking, of course, that's what you see, MBG, but that's the nature of something like this. Everybody's going to kind of see what they want to see. I've been talking to you guys about wanting a proper Metal Gear remake of some kind or something like that. I mean, the idea of Bluepoint doing something other than a remake with Metal Gear is very interesting to think. But, this is a studio that I have to say absolutely blew me away with Shadow of the Colossus and Demon's Souls remake in particular. And I just cannot wait to see what they do next. So I had to talk about this and share it with you. And at this point, I'm going to be really interested to hear what you guys have to say. What do you think Bluepoint is teasing here, if anything? Anyway, that does it for the video. I hope you did enjoy it. I hope you did find it informative. Leave it a like if you did. Subscribe if you're new. Hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share the video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.